We're here to provide you an update on the OIS investigation that's underway. Just want to continue to emphasize this is unusual for us to move forward. We appreciate the relationship with the DA to be able to move forward and be able to provide the video. Because this is an investigation, we must be thorough in our work, and we must emphasize that. It takes time to get these investigations underway, and they will go on for a period of time. The department remains extremely limited in the type of information that we can release. We want to emphasize that this is a bifurcated investigation. It is an administrative investigation in which our internal affairs will be looking at any violations of departmental policy. It is a criminal investigation in which our shooting team, working in hand-to-hand with the DA's office, will be investigating. So those entities involved in that, our officers involved shooting investigation unit, paternal affairs that I mentioned, the district attorneys that I mentioned, but also our Civilian Police Oversight Commission. CPOP is also at the table with us from the start of this investigation. First, I want to acknowledge my officers who were involved in a difficult and life-threatening situation. Our officers were shot while attempting to disarm an individual with a weapon. That is a fact. It is illegal to carry a gun on the streets of Philadelphia. The individual decided to fight and did not give up that illegal gun. And so unlike the thousands of interactions we have on a daily basis across the city, last year we had almost 260 gun arrests where individuals working, we did make an arrest, we brought them to trial, but those individuals did not shoot our officers. So we will not lose sight of that fact. We'll release the name of the officer who was involved in the shooting later today, and that will come out of our office. We do want to thank Temple University and the doctors at Temple University for the care that they gave for our officers who've been able to be released most recently. And I do want to express my condolences to Spencer's family. We acknowledge that loss of life as we go about this work. And even though he posed a threat to us, we recognize, particularly the mother who we've been talked to, her contact with her son and understanding what that may look like. I want to emphasize, our goal is to be transparent in this work. Our goal is to hold ourselves accountable for how we operate in this space. And you can see by the partnership we have up here to do that. We want to make sure that we have a thorough investigation and avoid prejudice as we go through. Listen, we acknowledge the concerns of the community and the anger that's sparked by a short video that was put online most recently. The dangerous rumors that come from that, the untruths that come from that are difficult to deal with. And so we're working hard to disprove those rumors. A small snippet of time does not take the countless hours that are being put into this investigation, both by the DA's office, by my shooting team, by internal affairs, to make sure that we have those cases are done properly. We are working alongside the district attorney to cover all of the facts in this case and determine what has transpired. So that is important for us. I also want to share with you this. We have a crime strategy. Oftentimes, constantly we're asked to deal with the violence in this city. And constantly my responsibility as the commissioner of this police department and the men and women who work for me to ask them to go into some of the most dangerous areas of the city. We have 10 districts in the city who represent almost 80% of our violence. Where this incident happened is one of our primary districts that has a significant level of violence. In that particular area where those officers are working is one of the most violent pockets in our area, almost 15 times the violence that we see in other areas of the city. But just to give you a snapshot over the last 3 years of what happens in those areas where the officers are working, particularly where this incident happened, 5 homicides occurred in that area over the last 3 years. 17 non-fatal victims were shot, 1 juvenile and someone over 60. 23 robberies, 62 aggravated assaults, 225 narcotics arrests, and 14 illegal guns within 750 feet of the location. So I don't want us to ever lose sight of how important the work that my men and women are doing and what I'm asking them to do on a daily basis to go into some of the places that have our greatest challenges to serve that same community that is deserving across the board. We do, as through the investigation, revealed that our officers were out doing a security check of that property and also looking for a shooter of an active warrant. As part of their senses, when they entered the property, one of the bystanders apparently said something that alerted the group, and that often heightened the officer's presence. But I want to be clarified, as you go through the video, you will see that the officers' guns are holstered at the time when my officer is shot. Their guns are holstered, and only after being shot do they take their weapon out. We will address the issue of the body camera. You know, the body camera was not initially activated by the officers and ultimately was knocked off their clothing during the struggle. You know, we will walk through that process as part of our investigation to determine what it should have been turned on or not, and if our policies need to be adjusted around that. But that's where we see where the body camera is at this point and how the investigation will continue into that work around the body camera. I want to emphasize the investigation, as I said before, is ongoing and limited. I reiterate that the officers involved have been placed on administrative duty as per protocol. And I assure the public, through our work and through this investigation, a thorough investigation will be conducted. I do appeal to the community. Be patient in these investigations. We are working diligently, but it will take time, as the DA will probably emphasize as he comes forward, to go through all of the evidence in this case. Everything must be reviewed. Everything, not just video. Everything in this case, from the casings of the bullets to where the officers were, all of that must be reviewed in this process, and that is not done in 3 or 4 days. I encourage everyone who has information on the individual who fled, who took the gun, and we're thankful for the FOP to put forth an award, that anyone who has information on where that individual may have gone, that you share that information with us. But I will continue to emphasize, we are the department that will be transparent. We will be a partner that will work to service our community, both in our crime areas and across the city of Philadelphia. And we will continue to lean forward in our work and continue to support our men and women in these regards. So I want to thank the media for your attention in this matter. I want to emphasize we will keep you informed as we move forward, and I'd like to turn it over to DA Krasner for his remarks.
Thank you, Commissioner Bethel. Transparency is a word I've heard here repeatedly, and that is essential in a situation like this. The Commissioner is absolutely right that we are at the very beginning of an independent investigation in the District Attorney's Office. It is our obligation, when there's an officer-involved shooting, to go to the scene and to investigate it, and to do so thoroughly. Thoroughly means you look at the video. And for the first time today, due to a collaboration between the Philadelphia Police Department, the DA's office, and also the city solicitor's office, there will be an opportunity to see over 5 minutes of video of what occurred inside the store where this fatal shooting occurred. That's very important. The truth has inherent value. The truth has to come out. That requires transparency. But timing is also important, because if we do not lift up this video so that people can see what it shows, what it does not show, what can be determined, what cannot be determined from the video, then what we have is the opportunity for people to invent their own narratives. And that can be dangerous. When people keep repeating the same thing that is untrue over and over and over, it starts to feel like it's true, and that can be dangerous. So I am delighted that we have the opportunity here to dig deeply, to get at the truth, and I will be in a position to speak in more detail, probably within about 90 days or so, about what the truth is in terms of facts as we see it, what the truth is in terms of the law as we see it. But in order to do that right, we're going to have to wait for a lot of evidence that is still being determined. We're going to have to wait for certain medical records. We're going to have to wait for a certain final autopsy. We're going to have to wait for toxicology that comes off the autopsy. We're going to have to wait for DNA. We're going to have to wait for firearms examination details. We're going to have to wait for a lot of science. And that science is crucial to knowing with certainty exactly what happened here. The reality is we may agree with interpretations of the Philadelphia Police Department completely. We may agree with them partially, or we may not agree with them. But today is not the day for that. Today is the day for transparency. Today is the day for the public to see the truth about what it is that is visible and occurred inside of a store. And today is the day to understand the limitations of all of that. Yesterday began with a meeting between myself, my team, including Clark Beljean right here, who is the chief prosecutor investigating this case, and for those of you who need to spell it, C-L-A-R-K-E, Beljean, B-E-L-J-E-A-N. Mr. Beljean is primary on this. We had a detailed meeting, I think a robust and serious discussion with the Philadelphia Police Department. City Solicitor Renee Garcia was there for the entire meeting and participated seriously in the meeting. And what came from the meeting was the necessity for my office to meet with the family of Mr. Spencer, something that they wanted, something that we wanted, and talk to them about their wishes for the release of video, among other things. We also spoke to them about any services that they may need as a family that has suffered the loss of a loved one. But ultimately what they said is show the whole video. That is what they said. And what is happening here, as I understand it, I haven't seen it yet, is the showing of a video of about 5 minutes and some seconds in duration. I am informed that this video is the entire contents of the incident. There has been some pixelation of the faces of individuals, either because they are potential witnesses or for other privacy reasons. I can tell you that my office possesses a longer video, but I do not understand it to contain any additional video of the incident. My office has a copy of a compilation completed by the Philadelphia Police Department that, as I understand it, contains another few minutes of slow motion of the same incident. So it is my understanding, not having seen this video, that what you will be able to see today is the entire relevant contents. Not necessarily slowed down, but the entire relevant contents of what was visible to the cameras inside of the store where the shooting occurred. We will have a lot more to say, but not today. We will have a lot more to say when we have all the information. We are trying to be fair. We are trying to be fair to the officers involved. We are trying to be fair to various bystanders who were in the store. We are trying to be fair to the Spencer family, and the only way to do that right is to get all the facts before we in the district attorney's office claim we know what happened. We want all the facts, and we intend, regardless of the consequences, to try to do the right thing, which is what we try to do all the time. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce Deputy Commissioner Frank Venor, who I understand will be playing the video for all of you and may have some comments on it as well. DC Venor.
Thank you. Good morning. So I just want to reiterate what the Commissioner and the District Attorney said. We are still in the very beginning of our investigation. All right, we have certain things that have been done. We know some of what occurred by looking at the video and talking to witnesses that we were able to talk to. There's certain witnesses we're still looking for, and we're going to move forward and try to find those individuals. We also, and I'll talk about it as we get into this, we have an arrest warrant for an individual who removes the firearm from the location. I think you all know that. So just to start from the beginning, our officer involved shooting unit is the one leading this investigation. We also have our internal affairs working on it with the district attorney's office. We have also met with the Spencer family. Lieutenant Hendershot, who leads the shooting investigation group, does that immediately on the day of any incident that occurs. If we could find the family, we always talk to the family. So we have also reached out to the family in this manner. So I'm just going to give you some information leading up to you looking at the video, just so you have some context. And this is stuff we believe at this point in time. We have not even been able to interview both officers. As you know, when an officer discharges, we can't interview that particular officer until after certain things occurred with the district attorney reviewing the case. We do interview the officer that was shot, and some of what we got, and we interviewed him at the hospital the next day, we got from him. So I'm going to go over that. You'll see in this video, first of all, this store located at 2859 North Masher has a lot of video, all right? So very narrow store, kind of small. You'll see it inside, but it has a lot of video both outside and inside. So when we're showing you the incident, you're going to see it from one angle, then you're going to see it from another angle, and then we do have a few of the slow motion feeds in there from both angles. All right, so I want you to see that. When the officers are on routine patrol, they're in an unmarked Ford Taurus vehicle. They get out. What we now know and we believe is that the one police officer steps out to do a security check of the store, routine patrol. He just wants to get out and make a security check. We also know, as the commissioner said, that he was armed with the information that there was an individual from that area wanted for a non-fatal shooting warrant. That shooting had happened a few weeks prior to this night. He knew who that individual was, and he knew he hung in the area of that store. So he was out looking for that individual to see if he would contact him. But he went in the store as a routine check. And as he enters the store, you're going to hear, I believe it's in Spanish, somebody say something that walks in right ahead of him to the three individuals that are in the rear of the store. You're going to have our Mr. Spencer. You're going to have a male in a black hoodie who we don't know who he is, so his face will be pixelated. And you're going to have a male in a red hooded sweatshirt who we'll later identify for you as Jose Quinones Mendez, who is 42 years old and wanted for picking up, which we believe now is the firearm that he was used to shoot the police officer. All right, so they'll say something to them. That immediately heightened the officer's suspicion that something was going on in that store, that they had to alert the people in the store that he was coming in. So you'll see him walk up to the first person very quickly. He talks to him. He walks up to the other. There is audio in this video, too. He walks up to the other three. He quickly goes through the other two, the person in the red hoodie, the person in the black hoodie, and he stops at Mr. Spencer. We now know that at some point, and you'll see it in there, he sees what he believes is a firearm in his pocket. So as he's completing his encounter now, that becomes heightened. His partner has now entered the store behind him. Took a few seconds longer. He was driving the vehicle. He parks it, gets out, and he enters behind him. He alerts his partner that there's a gun, and then the struggle's on. And we'll get into a little more detail as the video plays. I'm going to let you watch it for yourself. But at some point during that struggle, they go to the ground. I know on the night of the shooting, we thought that the officer was shot 2 times because he had 4 wounds, all right? We now know that he had a double perforating wound. So he was down in a crouch during the struggle. His leg was bent, and the bullet goes in his thigh, out his thigh, in the back of his calf, and out the front of his leg. So 1 bullet went through 4 times, all right, through his leg. So that's the 4 injuries. You're going to see that in the video. You're also going to see blood protruding from his leg at some point. While that's happening, both officers' guns are still holstered, okay? The one officer that was injured did not fire his weapon. I think he tried, but it did not operate. The other officer did 1 time, and that was the shot that was struck Mr. Spencer. During this struggle, you're going to see in slow motion, because I didn't even see it in full motion, something get thrown out from the struggle. The officers don't see it. And something else I want to precede this with is you're seeing this from levels above the incident on both sides and all around. The officers don't have that perspective, all right? They're down on the ground, and they're fighting. So they don't see the stuff that's going on. They definitely, we don't believe, see a gun because they walk right by it a couple of times after the incident, and then it's picked up. And you clearly see that on the video. So I'm going to allow the video to play. And like I said, we're not going to answer many questions. If I could elaborate on something else, I definitely will as we move forward. So I'm going to have this play now.
Mira, el cajón negro está bien fuera. Ya, cuidado ahí, cabrón. Sí. Viene para acá, yo. No, viene para acá, viene para acá. You know exactly the speed was on?
Who does?
No. Let me get a loose, you know?
We're good.
No. Anything else? Let me get a room. I'm about to do that. Yeah, we're done.
I'm in. Yeah.
Bro, no, Mike, I go run, bro.
I'm in. I'm fucking.
No, I can't breathe, yo.
Hey, oh.
Hold on.
I'm on blue.
Get up. Hey, don't be pushing. Outside. Outside.
We're good.
No.
I'm in. Yeah. I'm in. I'm fucking.
No, I can't breathe, yo.
Hey, oh.
Hold on.
I'm on blue.
Get up. Hey, don't be pushing. Outside. Outside.
We're good.
No.
I'm in. Yeah. I'm in. I'm fucking.
No, I can't breathe, yo.
Hey, oh.
Hold on.
I'm on blue.
Get up. Hey, don't be pushing. Outside. Outside. Hey, don't be pushing. Outside. Outside.
Yeah, so we thank you for coming out. We asked you from the beginning to respect the process. The investigation now continues. There's a lot of work that the DA's office outlined, my team outlined, that we still have a lot of work to do. We're still early in the investigation. We're going to continue this investigation. We'll update you as we get more information. We'll be putting out the name of the officer who discharged later on today. Thank you for coming.